once.
No, I wasn't going here. But
Cat in the hat came back.
that's right.
Right, welcome back. We're at 96.3.3, and the next one, there's been some changes, and there are knock-on effects, so to speak. Can you put us through this? Some work has been done.
If I may, Mr Mayor, so before the lunch break, Councillor Hanford had begun moving an amendment to 96.3.3 that has a knock-on impact following it, and will have a knock-on impact back up at the substantive motion. So all of those knock-on impacts, I think, are currently shown on the screen. I think it would be appropriate for Councillor Hanford to speak to her amendments first, and then if she needs some help, we can help.
Yeah, feel free to chime in though. So yes, 96.3.3, which is the current recommendation that we are up to, proposing that to be amended to read Paraparaumu Community Board with 4 elected members and 2 Paraparaumu Ward councillors appointed. Then flowing on from that, 96.3.4 Raumati Community Board, so a separate Raumati Community Board with 4 elected members and 1 Paikakirihi Raumati Ward councillor appointed. And then 96.3.5 Paikakirihi Community Board, 4 elected members, 1 Paikakirihi Raumati Ward councillor appointed. And then that obviously has a knock-on effect to the substantive recommendation 96.3, which sets out that separate community boards would be created for Paraparaumu and Raumati, and that the boundaries of the community boards are set out in the map at Appendix 7, Option C of Map 3. Hopefully that, Janice, if you want to jump in, feel free.
Understanding all this stuff and not jumping in.
Right.
That's been moved. Has it been seconded?
Have you got a seconder? Councillor Compton. Do you want to speak on that? Oh. Councillor Holbrook. Oh, Councillor McCann first.
I've got a question, and if it's appropriate, Mr.
Yep,
Mix,
it is.
through you. You may wish to change your mind when you hear the question, but I'll give you that leeway. It's really for Councillor Hanford. We are moving from 4 elected members to 8 elected members under these suggested amendments. Were you aware that in 2019 5 people stood for 4 positions, 2 of which stood for council? 2016 we had 6 people stand for these for the equivalent of 4 positions, 4 of whom stood for council. In 2013 we did have a record with 7, but 2 became ward councillors and 1 didn't. So what I'm really concerned about is the numbers that we've just put in this amendment exceed the numbers of people who have ever stood for, and we could be setting our community up to fail. And for seems to me we haven't done the numbers here. Oh yes, I would.
Right. Look, I don't think we should be debating this at the moment.
It's in debate. It's been moved to seconded.
Okay, so who's next?
So I can go next then, I guess, and make some comment.
You can wait.
Amendment, now's the time.
I mean, you moved it, so you have a chance to come back to. I'll give you a chance to respond.
So we're in debate?
Yeah. Who's next? Councillor Elliott.
Yeah, thanks. So personally, I favour the 10 councillors at large model, retaining all community boards, with every councillor appointed equally to a community board as a portfolio. So I'm just going to say that it gives every voter the widest range of representatives to vote for and access, and brought our representation model in line with the STV voting process that we have chosen. This wasn't a chosen model to go forward, however there were very valid reasons for the proposal council voted to put out for consultation.
Are we talking about the amendment that
I'm speaking to this vote. Is that right? And that the public...
Chief Executive.
It is only debate and speaking to the amendment at the moment. So far what I'm hearing from you is speaking to the substantive, which you probably do still have that opportunity once these amendments have been passed.
We come back to 96.3.
If you wish to speak specifically to the amendments, now's the time to do that.
Yep, I'm doing that. So can I continue?
Yeah, speak to the amendment.
Oh well, I'll get to it at the end of this paragraph.
So it's a preamble. Okay, where you go.
The proposal we put forward had valid reasons behind it. It was selected to address a number of concerns raised that the public are well aware of that have arisen over the last few years with our community boards. These issues have proved to be a barrier to our residents to get good, accurate, factual information from community boards and have not enhanced good outcomes in many instances. Oftentimes, these have deliberately caused unnecessary friction with the council.
You're not speaking to the amendment.
Listen, just let me go for God's sakes. And really have affected fairness. And these include family members being appointed to gain voting backing at the table to push personal agendas, amongst other things. These issues remain unaddressed at this point, and importantly, it is important that Council addresses those issues and takes the time to do that. We have the opportunity now, after today's vote, to sit down as a council and make practical changes to how the mayor, councillors and the council are able
You're still
to
not
interact
speaking to the
with
amendment.
the community boards and during community board meetings. We will have this conversation next.
Are you coming to the amendment?
Do you not let me just simply sit down and make a speech?
Look, you are rambling on about
I have
substantive.
5 minutes to speak in standing orders, Your Worship.
Look, just because you have 5 minutes to speak, you cannot be talking about your shopping list.
Community boards have been long entrenched in our community psyche as a platform where residents can raise concerns.
Look, I'm going to call you to stop now and call the next speaker. Councillor Halbrough. Councillor Halbrough.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's my understanding that we're currently debating the amendment, which...
Can you have the amendment now?
Which is separate community boards for Paraparaumu and Raumati, which we've kind of debated already. But I really just wanted to talk of what Councillor McCann's just said, which in summary, I just want to summarise it. Since 2013, we have had one person who stood for election for the Paraparaumu Raumati Community Board who hasn't actually been... Yes, I am.
Yes, she is.
So you accept the point of order or not, Mr. Mayor?
No, I don't.
So we have had one person who has stood who hasn't been elected since 2013. Unfortunately, I couldn't find 2010. So I have real concerns that we won't get quality candidates to fill those two community boards. I just think that this concept has come up quite late in terms of thinking through the ramifications of it. I love the idea. I get that Raumati is special, but so is Karori, so is Kandala, so is Te Horo. Not every special place necessarily gets a community board. What community boards are for is advocating for those communities who are really distinct and really need it. And what we've decided to do is provide those two community boards in the middle as well, which is great. We've heard that there are some serious issues with our community boards at the moment. Shouldn't we take stock, have a good think about how to fix those issues before adding more not necessarily more problems, but more capacity issues. The other thing is that we'll go through an annual plan next year, and we're going to have to provide funding for this. And I hope that the councillors who vote for this amendment today, if they do so, are happy to put extra funds on the rates or sacrifice other things.
Sorry.
Thank you, Councillor Elliott. So I won't be voting for this amendment today. I understand the reasons for it. As Jane said, our hearts want it. We know Raumati's special. It's wonderful that it's special, but that doesn't necessarily mean that we need to have a community board. There are other ways that we can support that community.
Councillor Compton.
Thank you. I'm going to be speaking in support of Councillor Hanford's amendment, obviously, having seconded it. And I'd make the point that we've heard through this process that Raumati doesn't feel represented by the current arrangements there. We've heard from the Community Board Chair for Paraparumu Raumati that they'd like to see, or at least 3 of the members there would like to see, a separate community board for Raumati. We've heard from business and community leaders in Raumati that they want to see a separate community board from Raumati. And to the point that was raised earlier about not enough people stand, well, we haven't given people in Raumati necessarily a chance to stand for their own community boards. So I'm imploring councillors to give this a chance, because
Hold on, don't interject.
Because it's important. You know, we talk about the challenges our community boards are having, and it seems there's a mixed bag. Some of them are working well, some of them aren't. But we've got this movement in Raumati that's really encouraging people. I think it's really encouraging to see this voice coming through, because we often talk about Kapiti as being the string of pearls, and quite often that's referred to as Paikakariki, Paraparumu, Waikanai and Otaki. And places like Raumati seem to just get merged into Paraparumu. Te Horo gets forgotten about, Rikarangi gets forgotten about. And what I see the Raumati Community Board as being is a template for us to say, well, maybe we do need to have more granular community boards. Maybe that is an option we need to explore in the future. And this is the opportunity for us to do it now. There's been some comments made along the way today about relitigating things in council meetings that have been apparently been given a stare on in workshops. And I'd quote Associate Professor of Law, Dr. Dean Knight from Victoria University, who said back in March that it is raw and naked debate that gives democracy its legitimacy. And it's not stares and workshops. This is where we have the debate. This is where people get to see the sausage being made, however messy and unpleasant it may be at times. But this is what people in our community want to see. We don't make decisions in workshops. Clearly, it wasn't a clear stare, because we wouldn't be at this point otherwise if people have been reading the numbers on this. So I think there's I'll just encourage councillors to give this a chance, to vote to support these amendments, and let's support the people of Raumati to have their voices heard and not feel like they're subsumed into Paraparumu, because that's increasingly going to happen as Paraparumu develops and grows into a city centre over the coming years.
Councillor Pravanov.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So I've thought about why there might be potentially only a limited number of people put their names forward for the community boards. And one of my beliefs is that people from Raumati don't believe that their voice is going to be heard within the current community board structure, and so they just don't bother. And so I think everyone here agrees that Raumati is special and that is not being represented well, and that the current system is not working well. So I request that everyone does support this new community board.
Councillor Elliott.
Thank you. I'll be supporting this amendment because the community boards do so much good in communities and have such potential. And as a Raumati and Raumati South resident of over 20 years, I know how Raumati residents have felt all this time, being lumped in the bigger Parapram Beach grouping. And sharing a ward.
has already presented her views on this amendment. She can't have a second.
Continue. In
Thank you. Effectively, Raumati has been denied their identity. Largely, this community has been without a cohesive voice for a long time. It has been a real joy this triennium to watch natural, strong, competent leadership grow out of the Raumati village community, and to give such an effective voice to the identity that is uniquely Raumati. There is such potential, and last week's participation with council staff in producing their own local arts trail street events is a really great example of that. So I am supporting this amendment very much with all my heart. Thank you.
There are no other speakers. Can I suggest, Councillor Hanford and Councillor Compton, that we take 96.33 and 96.34 together?
I'm just wondering if we check if Councillor Randall has anything to say if we haven't already.
No.
No, I'm just
hang on a moment. It's a reminder to me, and even staff have reminded, to keep an eye for Councillor Randall. To say. In the meantime, I've just asked, are you happy for you all to take those two 96.33 and 96.34 together? It just makes sense. Yep. Okay.
Yep.
That's fine. Councillor Randall. Councillor Randall, are you there? He's not. Okay.
Councillor, you can speak now.
Councillor Randall?
Yeah, hi, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, g'day.
G'day.
You got anything to say on this resolution, this recommendation?
No, I've already said that.
Okay, enough. I don't want you to mention the other councillor's name.
Who was that, Mr. Mayor?
Right, okay. No one speaking on it. We are taking 96.33 and 96.34 together, moved by Councillor Hanford, seconded by Councillor Compton. All those in favour say aye. Those against?
Aye.
No. Division. All those in favour, put your hands up.
Councillors Hanford, Halliday, Compton, Elliott, Pravanov and Randall.
All those against?
Councillors Buswell, Coots, the Mayor, Councillors Holborough and McCann.
It's carried. 96.3.5, the amended one. So the word Raumati has been taken out, so it's the Pakagiti Community Board. All those in favour? Aye. Those against? It's carried. Now we go back to 96.3 with the amended form.
Mr. Mayor, if you actually look at the wording, the second part has still got Raumati in it. Oh, sorry, that is right, sorry.
Thank you. Councillor Hanford.
Yes, I would like to move 96.3, the amended recommendation.
Seconded.
Councillor Hanford moved.
All those in favour?
Aye.
Those against? No. Division. All those in favour, put your hands up.
Councillors Hanford, Halliday, Compton, Elliott, Pravanov and Randall. Thank you.
Those against?
Councillors Buswell, Coots, the Mayor, Councillors Holborough and McCann.
Carried. Thank you very much. That's done. We're now in 97. It was moved Councillor Holbrook and seconded by Councillor McCann. Yeah, I'm just looking at it. That's
I'll accept that.
you accept those amendments?
Yes.
All of them, right? So I can put 97. All those in favor say aye. It's amended. Those against, carried. Division, all those in favor? It's amended.
Councillors Hanford, Halliday, Compton, Buswell, the Mayor. Councillors Holborough, McCann, Elliott, Pravanov, and Councillor Randall.
Against?
Councillor Coots.
So that's 97 is carried. Is that right? Now 98. What's happened? It just well, once the vote has been taken, and then we know it changes everything.
Yep, that's appropriate.
So we are 98 with that amendment. Again, I ask,
Yeah, I'll accept that.
and seconder, Mr. McCann accepts that.
Sure.
Okay.
We're exercising collective responsibility.
All those in favor of resolution recommendation 98 say aye. Those against? Hello. Those against? So there's two of y'all. Mr. Where did Randall go? Oh yes. Division. All those in favour?
Councillors Hanford, Halliday, Compton, Buswell, the Mayor. Councillors Holborough, McCann, Elliott, and Randall.
Those against?
Councillor Coots, Councillor Pravanov.
Carried. 99. There's no amendment of that one, right? There is. Again, Councillor Holbrook is mover and seconder, Councillor McCann.
We just leave that because has not been provided on this paper. So can we have a few seconds to read that?
Yep.
Can I ask a question?
I will allow you to ask a question.
It's just for clarity's sake, because we went through a process where we didn't do that.
So in this resolution, you are providing the official reasons for why you voted for what you voted for. You have accepted submissions that support a separate board. This is providing the rationale, which goes back to the LGC.
Thank you.
So it's just procedure, really.
Yeah, we're required to say our treatment of submissions.
So this is 99, right?
We're both happy for me.
Yep, okay.
Is someone else allowed to move this?
No. It was voted en bloc. Yep. So resolution recommendation 99 with amendment accepted by the mover and seconder. All those in favour, aye.
Aye.
Those against?
Aye. The division, please.
Those who in favour, put your hands up.
Councillors Hanford, Halliday, Compton, Buswell, Randall, I'm guessing, the Mayor. Councillors Holborough, McCann, Elliott.
Those against?
Councillors Coots and Pravanov.
Carried. And now,
Councillor Holbrook only moved to 99, so someone now needs to move 100.
That was over the page.
oh, So it's 100. All those in favor say aye. Those against? Carried. So that's done and dusted. Confirmation of minutes. Can somebody move the minutes of the council meeting 28th October 2021 be accepted as true and correct record? Don't all rush. Councillor Elliott moved. Seconder? Councillor Hanford. All those in favour say aye. Aye. Carried. No public speaking time, no confirmation of public excluded minutes, public excluded records. I now say the meeting's over. Thank you very much. Interesting day.
Some would like them to be appointed to boards, whether or not that's legal, so we could do that.
So is